Hey everybody, it is Natalie from Power Moon Tarot. Welcome to your reading. Today's reading is called What Cycle is Resetting for You Now? We have 3 piles to choose from. Pile number 1 is represented by the fire element. Take a look at this card and see if it resonates for you. Pile number 1 with the fire element. Pile number 2 is represented by the water element. If you're feeling the water element, you'll choose pile number 2. And pile number 3 is the air element. If you're feeling the air element, you will choose pile number 3. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and begin today. Thank you all for being here, and thank you so much to my new subscribers out there. I see you. Glad you are here. Glad you're with us. And however you found me or however you connected with me, I'm so happy to have you here. And let's go ahead and get into it. Let's do it. Let's start with pile number 1. For those of you wanting personal tarot readings for all your divinatory needs, you can find in the description box below for information on how to book a personal tarot reading with me, or if you'd like to request a natal chart reading with me, details for how to do so are below. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay. All right, let's begin with pile number 1. Pile number 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the fire element, and today's reading is called What Cycle is Resetting for You Now? We are going to take a look. And I think everybody has that feeling. Well, maybe not everybody. I don't want to speak for everyone, but a lot of people have the feeling of, we're only at the beginning of the year, but I think we all could use a big reset in the most positive way, okay? Even as we start out the beginning of this year, okay? And if you're upset, like you haven't been following your New Year's resolutions and things like that, we got time, pile number 1. We got plenty of time to kick it back into gear. So let's go ahead. Of course, the fire element represents energy. So maybe some of you are working on increasing those energy levels or getting back to what you're most passionate about. Let's go ahead and get a message here. What's the message for pile number 1, Spirit, regarding the cycle that they are resetting in their lives, okay? What is the cycle that they are resetting here for pile number 1? What is the cycle they are resetting? Ooh, there's the Knight of Wands. Talk about fire. Just dropped right out there. Being more spontaneous, pile number 1. Maybe that's something you're wanting to be more expressive, show more of where you're at, be more spontaneous, have more fun. Let's see here. What is the cycle that pile number 1 is currently going to be resetting? What is the cycle here? Or what is the message about that? Can't rush the message, right? Sometimes it just takes some time to come out. And we have the 3 of Wands. Definitely. The 3 of Wands represents the Sun in Aries in the tarot. So yeah, boldly facing new horizons. And we are going to go ahead and look at your oracle cards first, and then we'll look at your tarot message, pile number 1. We have the Hierophant here, being very set in one's ways and the way one is doing things. We have the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is a huge reset in cycle. And I am getting, for some of you, the way you treat your body or the way you look at your body as being part of this reset. I also feel for some of you too, it could be with your wardrobe, with your clothes, okay, as well. And maybe some of you are wanting to update your wardrobe and look a little more fashionable, or you're wanting to feel a little more sexy with the way that you're dressing, because I am seeing something about that. And the Hierophant in the tarot represents Taurus and represents being pretty like stuck in our ways, or being more stuck in the way that we view things. And there's a lot of really positive things about the Hierophant, but One of the things that may be more challenging is kind of being stuck in a person's particular ways. And I'm also getting something about legs. For those of you that in your life you've had like weird body image issues, maybe not weird, but because we all have our body image issues in life. But if you've had any body image issues like with your legs, or you're always covering up your legs, or you're always trying to draw attention away from your legs. I'm also seeing somebody who has like sexy arms or strong arms, but maybe you've wanted to kind of draw attention away, from, I'm also getting something about somebody protecting their neck area, or a scarf that a person is wearing, okay, cream colored scarf perhaps. But for those of you that have dealt with, trying to find ways to dress your body in a particular way that you feel comfortable with, and you've been kind of dressing a particular way for a long time, or you've been carrying yourself a particular way for a long time, I feel like I do see some changes here. Perhaps some of you are trying to like lose weight, or you're trying to have a reset cycle when it comes to your comfort level with yourself, your body, how you feel about your body, all of that. I do think I see that coming up for you, pile number one. And maybe some of you will be revamping that wardrobe, or just changing how you feel about yourself. Like, I'm changing how I see myself and my body image and all of that. And I can see that here, pile number one. Good for you and taking that on. We have here Badger and Endurance. Whatever you seek, your tenacity and faith. Yeah, and that's very much the Hierophant. Your tenacity and faith will be paying off in whatever you seek. Okay, the Wheel of Fortune, whatever you seek. Know that no matter what the temporary conditions are, you will manifest your desires in divine timing and in the form that is best for you. Okay, and so whatever your desires are, and fire is definitely having the energy to go after what one desires. And no matter what your temporary conditions are, you actually stay very stable. I feel pile number one with this Hierophant here. You stay very stable, and I feel like you have been patient, but at the same time you may be thinking, well, when is this ever going to change? And I feel like there's certain things like opportunities that you guys want to ask for, or things that you want to do, but maybe you're like, well, am I like bugging people, or am I like being quote unquote too much? Okay, and Spirit is just saying no. You are very strong internally and externally, and you have the endurance to go after whatever it is that you are seeking in your life. We have the things that you say to yourself matter. Be kind. Oh, I love that. And look at the bear. Look at the bear. We have the badger and we have the bear. Okay, and the things that you say to yourself matter. Pile number one, be kind to yourself. And fire has that energy of like kind of amping people up, or amping up the energy. And fire is also very confident. When we think of the fire signs, we generally think of them as being, confident, outgoing, and it depends on other things in the chart. But with fire, we think of brave, audacious, outgoing, starting things, pushing things, starting new things, on the up and up, that type of thing. Fire moves up as the fire grows stronger and grows more, just more abundant. The fire goes up, and instead of things going up in flames or not working out the way that you want them to, we can see here the things that you say to yourself matter. Please be kind to yourself is what Spirit is saying to you guys, pile number one. Okay, and this whole thing with the fire element too could also result in some inflammation. For those of you that have been, dealing with inflammation in your body, autoimmune issues, things like that. But at the same time, you're really hard on yourself about your body or how you look, or, you feel like I don't have a lot of endurance, and I want to build up my stamina, and I want to build up my endurance and things like that, particularly towards activity or towards, accomplishing things. I feel like that is changing. We have control. Oh my goodness, control. And, good control of the fire element, mental control. All right. But being in control of the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you act. Okay. And some of you may have grown up around people that were very controlling or very dominating, because the fire element is great, but it also can be, it also can go sideways sometimes with people who are very controlling and want to force, their energy or their will on other people. And perhaps some of you too, even with the Hierophant, there can be this energy of needing to be in control. And, the fire element is all about what we desire. The fire element can also easily get out of control if there isn't some, mental kind of, if there isn't like mental awareness of that. And so that is coming up in your guys' reading as well as if there's been people in your life, pile number one, that have tried to control your energy or try to control what you want in your life. And I feel like you're like, yeah, I'm not putting up with that anymore. We have denial. I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness, okay? And I acknowledge my fear, okay? And maybe you're telling yourself, oh, that I don't need anything, or that doesn't scare me, or that isn't, I like where I am anyway. I don't want that anyway, okay? And maybe you've been kind of denying what it is that you want, and you've been kind of like putting up with something shabby or putting up with something less than, and denying what you want as a way to try to control the situation, pile number one. And I feel like this whole thing of facing up to what you really want, it's like, no, I know what I want. I'm going after it. I'm not going to give up on it. Okay. And so there is something about, I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. It's okay that I have this fear, but I am also aware of it, and I'm working on changing things, and maybe sometimes that has resulted in you denying what you need for yourself. Or maybe there's some situations where you really do feel like you need to be in control at all times, or control has been a big thing for you, but you haven't wanted to admit it to yourself because you're like, well, people can do whatever they want to do, Wheel of Fortune, right? But actually you like being in control more than maybe than you admit to yourself. And so these are some things, and these are some things that Spirit's bringing, and that's okay. That's all right. We all have stuff, right? Pile number one, we all have stuff. But I think it's when people get very demanding, trying to control situations, and, don't listen to other people. That's when things can get kind of out of hand, okay? And I don't think you're like that, pile number one. It says, whatever you seek, your tenacity and faith will be paying off, all right? We have here confront. Ooh, and it's the Moon card, okay? So if you have been denying the way that you feel about something, telling yourself that a situation is okay, and you're fine with waiting, and you're fine with, you're fine with the way things are, even though you're not really that sure, that type of thing. I feel like this is some type of, this is confronting the inner child about what the inner child wants and needs, and confronting some feelings of fear. Of course, the Moon card can have to do with some scary places within ourselves that we don't really want to go. And so we do our best to try to control all of that, and, maybe some of you have been in denial about your feelings about something, or you've been afraid to confront how you really feel about something and really, really look at it, okay? And I feel like that fire element is so helpful for you guys because it does encourage you to confront and deal with and have like courage and be brave and be strong about certain things that, you know, maybe in the past you didn't want to admit to yourself about how you felt about something, okay? And it's like I always have to be in control, and I can never like fall out of line, and I always have to be in control. And maybe some of you grew up in environments with a parent, for instance, who was very controlling. And so there's this whole thing about, you know, denying one's feelings or being afraid to look at one's feelings, okay? And yeah, pile number one. This is really interesting about this, okay? And I do feel like this cycle is resetting for you. Let's see what else we have here. We have Jupiter and we have abundance. Ooh. And you know, you have the Wheel of Fortune too. And maybe some of you actually have like a fear around success, or you have a fear about it like getting out of control, or you're like, I can barely control things where they are right now. And if I push harder, I might get what I want. And then what do I do then? And I don't know if I can handle it. And these types of things, these are the things that come up. And, you know, the Hierophant in the Wheel of Fortune speaks of learning some really important life lessons is also what I am getting, and confronting your fears and your emotions and things about maybe some things from your childhood too, with this Moon card here in denial, and the way that success was looked at in your family, or the way that people address that, or like fear that was instilled about, well, you can't do that, or that isn't going to work, or these types of, you know, negative attitudes towards things, okay? Really, when we grow up in environments like that, it becomes like this thing of where we're not sure what we want. And yeah, and so maybe you guys have been working on knowing what you want, the Hierophant, okay, putting it in motion, the Wheel of Fortune, endurance, taking it to the limit and making sure you keep on what you're doing, you keep on your goals. And for you guys with Jupiter and this endurance card, from your tenacity and your faith, even if there is temporary conditions that are challenging, you will manifest your desires. And it's funny because it says desire on this card with endurance, and then it says desire on this fire element card as well. So it's having the tenacity and the faith to go after something that you desire. And if there's been messages of you can't do that, or you'll never get there, or you start to really doubt yourself, or you really start to question, some fears come up, okay? I think Spirit is saying here, this whole cycle that you guys have been dealing with, particularly if you've had a fear of success, or you've had a fear of this, I feel like this is going to, or maybe some of you have also dealt with a fear that it's like, I'm never going to be successful. It's never going to work. Okay. So these types of things, these are coming up right now as a cycle to be reset. Yes, we have growth here, and this is phenomenal because Jupiter is all about growth, and you guys have growth all over your reading. You have the Wheel of Fortune, which is represented by Jupiter. You have Jupiter card. You have a card that says growth on it. So there's growth all over your reading. And yeah, and I do feel like, you know, growth most of the time is looked at as a positive thing, but also too, if it comes to body image, or if it comes to things like that, Jupiter is the planet that like rules fat and things like that. And of course, the fire element helps us burn all of that up in the engine, in the body's engine type of thing. But, you know, sometimes with the Moon card, we are confronting like our own laziness, or we're confronting, you know, we're confronting our feelings about our body. Of course, the Moon card in the tarot does have to do with the body and how the body keeps score and how the body holds all that tension and fear and energy in it, okay? And maybe some of you are needing a reset with your body, and it's like, I really need to listen to my body, and I really need to listen to how my body is feeling as I go about this process of growth. And sometimes with control, it's like mind over matter, and we're trying to control the body, or we're trying to control situations. And you know, the Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter, growth, abundance, all of that is telling us to you know, embrace the, like, not everything needs to be so hard either, right? And maybe we don't have to grip the steering wheel so tightly. But it says here, growth requires you to step out of your comfort zone. Yeah, and the moon definitely represents that comfort zone. So growth requires you to step out of your comfort zone. Growing pains can help you in gaining wisdom and experience. The old must be left behind before going into the new, okay? And talking about some growing pains as you've been growing. And, you know, the Hierophant and the Wheel of Fortune does have to do with our philosophy in life, our learning, our traditions, how we see the world, what we were taught as a child, and what we now believe as an adult. And the need here to kind of step out of your comfort zone in order to really get the most out of this new cycle. Pile number one. And the Three of Wands, of course, in the tarot is really about the confidence to step out into new territory, like by yourself, and kind of do things on your own. And maybe some of you are wanting to travel as well, or you're wanting to go travel and do things on your own. And you're wanting to feel lighter and freer is something that I'm getting as well. Pile number one. Let's see this message about this new cycle. We have, ooh, the Four of Wands. Oh, that's fun. That is fun. I like that. And we have here the Five of Cups. Oh, yep. And we have the Knight of Pentacles, really having good habits, endurance. The Knight of Pentacles really does speak to a certain level of endurance and that tenacity that is needed. And the Knight of Pentacles in the tarot is associated with Taurus. We also have the Hierophant represented by Taurus. And, you know, sometimes for Taurus people, if you have a lot of Taurus in your chart, sometimes it can be hard for us Taurus people to get up and get moving. We can stay really loyal and committed to things. And, you know, of course, Taurus, the fixed signs in general, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, do like to have control, do like to have, you know, kind of control over things, okay? And I feel like what you guys are saying is, you know, what happened to me with this Five of Cups and this Four of Wands? Like, what happened to me? I used to have so much fun, you know? I used to really, like, I really used to enjoy myself, and I didn't give a fuck what people thought about me. I didn't care what they thought I looked like. I didn't care if they thought I was, you know, too old to be in a certain place or too young or whatever. I didn't care. And my friends didn't care either. Like, we didn't care. Like, we had a good time and we enjoyed life. And I used to be so carefree. And I feel like lately I'm feeling, you know, with the Five of Cups, pile number one, maybe lately it's like, you've been feeling really bummed out, or you've been feeling, you know, kind of alone, or kind of bummed out about things, or you just feel like life has been really intense and it's just not the way it was before, and like the fun and the freedom and everything as that you had before. Because I do feel like some of you here with this Hierophant, like there has been a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders, and I do feel some of you could be kind of nostalgic for a time when things were easier, things were like, you know, you didn't like question things, you just went and did stuff and had a nice time, and there wasn't this sense of like you know, like I'm trying to have fun, or I'm trying to enjoy myself, but I feel like shit, or I feel like I can't really enjoy myself like I used to. And maybe even sexually too. For some of you guys, you've been in that with this fire element of desire. It's like, I want to have fun. I want to enjoy myself. I want to just really have a good time and celebrate like being alive and living in the moment. I really want to experience that. But it's felt so heavy. And maybe some of you, normally you have like a very strong sexual desire, but lately maybe there hasn't been as much. And yeah. Also, I'm getting the sense of some of you who dated somebody in the past or have been around somebody in the past who was, could have been very controlling or didn't like the fact that like some of your hobbies and interests and things that you used to do and thought that they were frivolous or dumb or things like that. And, you know, who needs that, right? Who the hell needs that? And, you know, the Wheel of Fortune is about expanding one's world. It's not about shrinking one's world down to the size of nothingness. It is about, you know, expansion and growth. And perhaps you did have to part ways, pile number one, at some point with somebody who wasn't, you know, who made you feel kind of bad for the things that you like to do. Like if you like to go to festivals, or if you like to go dancing, or you like to go to listen to music, or you like to go to shows, or you've got a passion for art or dancing, music, anything, right? And somebody making you feel like that was frivolous or stupid or not, you know, mature or whatever. It's like, yeah, no. And, you know, the Hierophant in the Wheel of Fortune is really about developing your own philosophies in life and developing your own visions and philosophies and how you see the world, and not really caring so much about how whoever else in your life is like wanting you to see the world. Do you know what I mean? Pile number one. We have the Lovers here. Yeah. Look at that with the desire element there. And it's like, I feel you guys really want to be with somebody that really understands you, understands your fiery soul. You know, these two, they're not like the same race. Maybe some of you have been with people in the past who are not the same race or religion as you, or have different, you know what I mean? But as long as there's like a mental awareness and a mental connection, there's like a lot of, you know, this is a lot of intense, an intense meeting of the minds and an intense sexual experience. Maybe some of you are really needing that as well. Like you're really wanting to feel that intensity and that steady like growth of something that really turns you on both mentally and physically. And you know, that person from your past, pile number one, they weren't all that anyway, okay? And I do see you guys like getting with somebody, and honestly, pile number one, I just have to tell you, this person from your past that lost out on the adventure with you is gonna be jealous, I feel. I just have to tell you. I feel there's gonna be some jealousy there, because I feel you guys could be meeting somebody who like really gets you on a deeper spiritual level and really sees into your soul. And it's interesting because she has a tattoo of a bow and arrow on her arm, which reminds me of Sagittarius, but which is the opposite sign of Gemini, the Lovers, okay? But really, really keyed into each other and really comfortable, like being naked with somebody, really comfortable looking into somebody's eyes, really feeling a deep soul connection with somebody, like seeking that other half is kind of what I feel is going on. And it's like you guys want to be in a connection where you don't even have to think about it. It's just, it's on, you know, you don't even, it's not even, and there might have been some jealousy or possessiveness or things like that in a past connection that you guys had. But I mean, I feel like you and this other person, you're on the same page, the same wavelength. You see into each other's eyes. You're present in the moment with each other. You're spontaneous. You're having fun. Like, that is really what I feel is a reset, like a cycle that is resetting for you. And for those of you that feel like you've lost part of yourself, like, I lost the fun, youthful part of myself that truly enjoys life and is truly having a good time. And I'd love to bring that back out of myself. But I feel like I need that partner as well to really see me in that energy. Okay. And yeah, I think that is very possible. And if you do feel like you've been crying over somebody, or you've been missing somebody, I think the quicker you get through that pile number one, the quicker that you can find something that's truly satisfying and truly expansive for your life, okay? And yeah, and if you felt like somebody was breadcrumbing you or wasn't there for you, or put down the things that you liked or enjoy, I feel like, wow, I feel you guys really meeting somebody who really gets you, okay? Like, really, really, really gets you. And you don't have to beg them to stay with you. You don't have to defend the things that you love and enjoy. It's just like, you get each other and you understand each other, and that's more than good enough, okay? And maybe some of you have some fear around that too, or some insecurity, because it's like, if I let someone into my emotions that way, what will happen? And what will occur? Will the same thing happen as before? No, I don't think so. Pile number one, I actually think, growth requires you to step out of your comfort zone, but growth can also help you gain the wisdom and the experience that you need to kind of get yourself to the next level, is what I feel, pile number one. So that is what I am getting for you, my loves. I hope that you enjoyed that reading. And I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments, and your feedback on the reading. Wish you the best, pile number one, and take care. Let's move on to pile number two. Pile number two, welcome to your reading. You chose the water element, and today's reading is called What Cycle is Resetting for You? My friends, we are going to go ahead and get into the reading. Thank you so much for being here. And let's get a message. Spirit, can you tell us what cycle is resetting for pile number two? And what does pile number two need to know about this, okay? What cycle is resetting for pile number two? Oh, that just like so neatly fell out of my hand. Kind of curious about what it was, pile number two, but let's go ahead and see what cycle. Cycle is clearing the way for pile number two, okay? I'm getting some energy of somebody who is a singer, okay? For those of you that are singers or vocal coaches, or you've been seeing a vocal coach, or you've been considering it, pile number two, I am getting something about that, all right? Just have to let you guys know. I'm also seeing a palm tree. And I'm also seeing somebody that is being called like an egghead, or somebody calling someone an egghead, which means somebody who's like really smart, or anyway, or a nerd of some kind. Let's go ahead for my pile number twos. Let's go ahead for my pile number twos. Pile number two, I'm getting somebody who is like a stickler for grammar, and then somebody being like, I'm a lot smarter than I look, okay? So perhaps some of you, that is somebody loves grammar or is a lot smarter than they look. I don't know what that means, but that's just what I got. So let's go ahead and see here. What is the message? What is the resetting cycle for pile number two, please? What is the... All right. There we go. Pile number 2. Ooh, we've got the Hierophant on the bottom of the deck. It's so funny because the Hierophant came up in pile number 1 as well. So let's go ahead and take a look here. It's interesting with this Hierophant here because I do feel the connection to, the Hierophant does represent Taurus, but I'm also feeling Libra in this pile too. And something about her face is very Venusian to me. So let's go ahead and jump into the reading. Also very beautiful color blue for those of you that like lapis lazuli, or I'm even seeing amethyst, which I know is more purple, but I do lapis lazuli for those of you really into lapis. I'm seeing that. We have the 6 of Swords. We have the Chariot. Get your motor running. Head out on the highway looking for adventure. Pile number 2. We have Ladybug and Luck. Your goals are about to manifest in remarkable ways. Dreams are coming to fruition. Stop and enjoy this moment. Oh, wow, because you're full speed ahead. Pile number 2. But sometimes when we're on a road trip, it pays to pull over and take in the scenery, take a couple pictures, check out the landmarks, look at the different things, right? Stop and enjoy this moment. And sometimes with the Chariot, it is really easy to get caught up in the moment or get, kind of carry a weight in the moment and maybe not realize maybe how good you do have it. Or we have a tendency sometimes in life to sort of speed by things or to let periods pass by without really thinking of them. And so it's interesting here. Dreams are coming to fruition. Stop and enjoy this moment. It's like the big moment before something really hits, okay? It's important to let things flow at their natural pace, right? And the 6 of Swords is very much like a let it flow, all right? Let it flow. Let it flow at its natural pace. Let it go where it needs to go. We have someone steering the ship here, but it's a light hand. It's not heavy-handed. It's pretty chill, okay? The Chariot is not really chill, and it is more about trying to maybe force and control a direction that you're headed in, which is okay. Sometimes in life we do need to apply. We really need to put our back into it and heave ho, But it says it's important to let things flow at their natural pace. Rest assured that in due course and time, your wishes will come true. And you guys did pick the water element. So it is about flowing, okay? It is about gentle flow. It's the difference between going through an hour-long kickboxing class where you're just drenched in sweat and hyperventilating versus going to a chill Tai Chi class where you're really taking in the energy, enjoying yourself, relaxing, chilling out, all of that, okay? And so, we can remember that the Chariot is associated with Cancer, which is a cardinal water sign, which has to do, Cancer definitely does have an agenda that it wants to push, but I do think with the water here, it is about not overdoing it, but instead being in the flow, and that's really where your luck becomes evident, and Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. And so there is a sense when we have Cancer about, luck flowing or something lucky is happening and maybe you guys are I haven't been lucky my whole life. I've had to, fight for every damn thing I have. I don't really consider myself to be that lucky of a person, right? And if that's kind of how you feel, then I also feel for those of you that get a lot of anxiety about getting things done or finishing things on time, or you really freak out when you don't get to a place on time, or you start feeling this intense pressure building when it's I'm not getting there. And that may even be when you're driving your car in traffic and people are being very triggering and people are honking and it's just a piece of crap out there in the world sometimes. And it's sometimes we just need to calm down and say, you know what, I'll get there when I get there. I'm not going to by stressing out, I'm not gonna like get there any faster, you know? And perhaps some of you have had issues with being on time, or you're a person that's always on time, and you're really annoyed at people who aren't, or you have a fear of being late, or you're a person who's never on time and it's really affected your life in negative ways. So looking at this whole issue of, you know, something being done in timing or being done in the right time without having to kind of forcefully corral something into happening, which can be very stressful on the nervous system. And for those of you who have a lot of nervous system issues, or you like, you know, panic or hyperventilation, or, you know, you get stuff like that, definitely Spirit wanting to help you guys reset your nervous system, like chill the F out, relax, enjoy, settle down a little bit, okay? And here it says, no other bitch can do it like you can. Pile number 2, no other bitch can do it like you can. Remember that, okay? And you have a unique way of doing things, and maybe you have both within you. Yes, I can be chill. Sometimes I feel your best ideas come to you when your mind is completely like at ease. Okay, pile number 2. But then you also have a hustler side to you as well. You have a very kick-ass, like motivating side, but you also have a chill side. And yeah, it's interesting, pile number 2. I like it. We have here postponement. Okay, this is the energy of the 4 of Swords, and it does have to do with postponement, and it's like looking forward to something, or just kind of sailing through the days, like to look forward to something, but then it doesn't happen the way you want it to, or it's not what you expected, or it doesn't meet your expectations. Okay, and maybe you feel like there's been a lot of times in life where the things that you wanted have been postponed, or you're like, well, I could go about things being very chill and relaxed, but then nothing would ever get done. And I feel some of you are just tired of seeing like the things that you want in life being postponed for another day, okay? And it just says it's important to let things flow at their natural pace. Rest assured that in due course time, your wishes will come true. So even if you've been a little bit sad because something got postponed, whether that was a date, meeting with someone, whether that was an event you were really excited about, or a trip you were planning, Spirit is just saying it's okay, like chill. And if you have to wait another day, you're not going to miss out on the opportunity. Like the opportunity is going to be there, okay? And you have trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. Aww, I like that. And that is the water element. That's the intuitive sensing element of the water. And it's like, where am I going? What am I doing? Okay. And if I'm still not there yet, did I pick the wrong direction? Where am I going? What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? And maybe at times you've taken things as being, when things get postponed, you take them as a sign that it's not like Spirit saying no, or that it's just a total no-go, okay? And maybe that has been, you know, a little bit sad or a little bit depressing at times, pile number 2, because you've been like, you know, I do my best to flow with the energy and be respectful of divine timing and the universe and all of that, but sometimes I just got really sick of waiting, and maybe like interpreting those waiting times as evidence that something isn't meant to be. But Spirit is asking you to trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly and bring me the clarity that I need, and help me to make the decisions that are most beneficial for my destiny and my life journey, okay? And maybe there is this sense of trusting that is really, you know, and for those of you that are working on trusting your intuition and trusting your choices and your decision in life, because I feel you are very smart. And Six of Swords in the tarot represents Mercury in Aquarius, which is a very strong Mercury. It's a strong and clear mind to make decisions. And I feel some of you here, you have a very strong and clear mind to make decisions, but it's like, we need to go right now, or this needs to happen right now, okay? And Spirit just saying here, trust that your inner voice will always guide you correctly. And for those of you who are working on your intuition, or you have business ideas when it comes to your intuition, or you have some type of a spiritual business, channeling, etc., astrology, you know, any of you here who do that type of work, and you are like really wanting to put more feeling or more emotion, or you're wanting to trust yourself more intuitively, I feel that is coming up. And even for those of you who are not involved in that type of profession, being able to trust your instincts and being able to trust what you're doing is important. And I feel there's a huge cycle for you guys. And maybe it's some of these postponements and some of these delays that have taught you about trusting yourself and trusting your intuition and trusting the direction that you're heading. Okay. Ooh, pile number 2. This is the Chariot card in this particular deck. Okay. And this is card number 7, and it says move. Okay. And it says Chariot, and you've got 2 chariots now in this reading. And maybe some of you are you're wanting to move, or you are wanting to, make a move for love, or you're thinking about actually moving or moving to a different city or changing where you're at. And Spirit just saying, if you are going to do something like that, know that you're supported and trust that your inner voice is always going to guide you correctly. And and maybe some of you are looking to make a move, okay? And you are looking for a change, okay? And maybe you wanted to do this in the past, but you postponed it, okay? And if you do move, it's a huge cycle for you, and it's a huge vote of trust and confidence in yourself. Pile number 2, to say, I trust myself, I trust where I'm being led, I trust my, and maybe trusting your emotions is something new for you, right? Because with the water element, like, emotions are always changing and they ebb and flow. And sometimes we start to doubt like what we're seeing and what we're feeling. And in this case, I feel like Spirit is saying your intuition, your emotions are getting stronger, and don't shut them down at this time. Like, let them flow, let them open you up in a way. We have lunar eclipse and change. Wow, pile number 2. Now, we are going to be having solar and lunar eclipses this year. The lunar eclipse is going to be in March. The solar is going to be in April. And then we have a lunar eclipse in late September. And then we have a solar eclipse in early October. So, end of March, early April, end of September, early October could be huge times for you guys this year as far as changes go. And, it's funny with lunar eclipses, because the eclipses are said to blot out the light of the moon. And of course, the lunar element is what is associated with that feeling element. But lunar eclipses can also make people feel kind of crazy, or make people feel like the changes are so overwhelming that it's like I couldn't even predict that, okay? Or change could start to feel very overwhelming. Or you guys, I feel you guys are going to be having some big changes here coming up in March, April of 2024, and September, October of 2024. Big opportunities for major changes and these lunar eclipses are in Aries and Libra. Perhaps some of you have you know, planets in Aries and Libra, and these eclipses are hitting personal planets, or you're a Libra rising or an Aries rising and they're hitting your ascendant or descendant. But these lunar eclipses coming up are a big deal for you, and it is representing a whole cycle, whole different cycle in the way that, you know, processing the emotions of the past, processing, you know, old feelings, like moving on from old feelings, letting go of old feelings, trusting the direction you're heading in life. Ooh, we have leadership here. Look at this. Ooh, I like it. And, oh, I love this. Pile number 2. I love her face too, like really determined, okay? It says you are, it reminds me of like one of the like warrior women from the TV series Game of Thrones. Did you have a favorite character on Game of Thrones that you really liked? I feel like you're becoming more like this person. Or do you have a favorite warrior woman? For those of you, like, do you have a favorite female warrior who like led a tribe, or who, you know, it's giving Joan of Arc, pile number 2. It's giving Joan of Arc. And for those of you that really do love like Game of Thrones or shows like that, yeah, if you've ever like envisioned yourself of being one of these female warriors, or like taking up the mantle or taking the power or seizing the power, you know, and look at that. She's holding on to a sword. And remember, I said you're far more strategic, knowledgeable, and smart than people may even know. Pile number 2. And, you know, sometimes people underestimate other people. Let them underestimate you. Let them, you know, let them, pile number 2, because I feel like you guys come out of nowhere. You come out of the brush and you come out of nowhere, fierce as hell, like Kali, the goddess Kali, holding your dagger with your tongue sticking out. And I have to say, pile number 2, I'm here for it. And I love that there's a chess piece up in the corner, and it's like there's a horse over here, and it's like whatever I decide, however I move the chess pieces on the board, is the result is going to give me more freedom, power, and control over my life and my destiny. And yeah, it says leadership on here. Amazing. And you know what? That's why it says no other bitch can do it like you can. Hey now, pile number 2. That's also, to me, that's permission to be a bitch too. And if you do need to be, you know, if you do need to be a bitch to move in the direction that you need to move in, then go for it. Like, you know, the woman on the chariot here on the motorcycle, she looks like she's like, I'm moving in this direction. You know, as Ludacris would say, move, bitch, get out the way. What is this? Okay, and maybe you guys have been chilling, 6 of Swords, trusting the energy, trusting the flow. But it's coming up to a point somewhere during this particular calendar year where it's like, move, bitch, get out the way, okay? And I like it. It's very strong, you know, intimidating and dominating energy, pile number 2. And I feel like, you know, that is something that is with you right now. But there also is this calm, quiet certitude with this water element where you show up in the flow. You know what I mean? You show up in the moment, in the flow, and ready to go, but you're not overly stressing anything. You're just in the flow, and you're sensing all the players and all the movements that people are making around you. And some of you could even be sensing things like before they happen. And for those of you that have ever like warned a relative, like, hey, I wish you wouldn't drive to work this morning. I wish you would stay and work from home. Hey, I wish that you would postpone that trip because like I had a dream about you on this particular day or whatever. I mean, I feel like a lot of your premonitions, pile number 2, are correct, okay? And I feel like your premonitions and the way you like see ahead to things is actually like really, really spot on, okay, pile number 2. And maybe you're getting a premonition about something that's telling you to postpone something and you're not super happy with it, but you're going to flow with it and you're going to go with the energy because you feel it's the right choice. And I'm here to say, I think that's the right choice as well. Pile number 2, okay? And it says here with leadership, you are no longer the supporting cast. You are the leading man or the leading woman, okay? You're no longer the supporting cast. Take the initiative and lead the way for others to follow. The Chariot, okay? Make a move. Take the initiative, make the move. You will be judged by the company you keep and those you admire. Wow. Pile number 2. Isn't that fascinating? That does remind me kind of like of Game of Thrones. And I've never even seen Game of Thrones. Or maybe you guys are watching, what's the other one? House of Dragons, like, you know, all those shows or whatever. But it's like you will be judged by the company you keep and those you admire. Wow. Pile number 2, fascinating energy. So just telling you, right, like, you know, maybe there's people you're cutting off or people you're saying, I'm out of here, or I've got to trust my instincts about this. I don't think that this person or this situation is right for me. And I'm going to go with my gut here. And yeah, pile number 2, good for you. I'm into it, my friends. Let's go ahead and see. We have the 10 of Wands, okay? Oh, I knew it, the Death card. That's a beautiful Death card in this deck, okay? And I feel like you're like, I'm no longer gonna let these delays, these problems, these issues, I'm not gonna let these bother me anymore. I know who the fuck I am and I know what I'm about. And I'm not going to let these things bother me anymore. I'm done. Okay. I do feel there's an element here of you guys saying, I'm done with trying to like do everything myself. I'm done with, I feel like maybe some of you are telling people in your life, like if you were doing like way too much and taking on too much of the burden, I feel like you guys are saying, you know what? I'm fucking done. I'm done with that. And if you think that I'm being selfish or if you think that I'm being whatever way about it, it's fine. And again, the whole thing I talked about of Kali coming out from behind the bushes with their tongue sticking out, that's very Death card, okay? And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to press myself on this anymore. I'm not going to like, you know, I'm not going to let these people work me to the bone. I'm not going to I'm not going to keep helping these people. And maybe some of you have people in your life that they're always getting themselves into extremely challenging situations and they're always leaning on you because they don't want to fail, okay? Or which is understandable, pile number 2. I mean, that's understandable. You're a strong person. A lot of people could have leaned on you in life. I am getting something about a particular friendship as well, like someone that's always having problems or is always up shit creek. Now, it's not that you don't have empathy for this person or you don't care. That's not what it is. I just feel like it's like I can't hold myself back anymore. Like I have to move on from this. I can't really, I tried to help this person. I tried to, you know, assist them in a particular way. I tried to do something. It doesn't like, I just feel you guys are done with a particular situation, and it could have to do with a friend, a family member, a boyfriend, but girlfriend, but I'm particularly getting a friendship situation where it's like, I'm done, you know, and that's okay. Like, I feel if you're done, and there could be something that happens in March, April, September, October of this year where you feel bad for somebody or you feel like, man, that sucks, you know, or you feel bad about it and you're a very loyal person, I feel, pile number 2, but at the same time, like, it's just been the same thing over and over and over again. And it's like, I don't really like, you know, I don't know. And with the lunar eclipse here, you guys could be kind of like emotioned out, you know what I mean, on a particular situation. And it's like, if that person is going to keep taking on way too much, if they're going to keep doing these things, they can't keep expecting me to bail them out or whatever. Like, I'm kind of done putting in all these things into the situation. Like, and for those of you that have been supporting family members that have been like, they're always in a crisis, they're not helping themselves, they're always dumping everything on you. I kind of feel you guys are done, you know? It's kind of like, I'm done with this, all right? And yeah, so as Bernie Madoff would say, the gravy train is over, I feel, okay? And I don't know why I'm bringing up Bernie Madoff, but I just think that that saying is really funny. But anyway, the gravy train is over. And in some ways, like, empathy hour may be over. And that's not to say that you're, you know, like a total bitch about things, pile number 2. You're not. You're very understanding towards people. But, you know, what really inspires you about a person is a person who has, like, tough, difficult circumstances in their life and yet still works really hard to work on themselves and work on their goals. And, you know, I do feel like, and it says here, you will be judged by the company you keep and those you admire. And for you, I feel like you guys are starting to admire, maybe there's like a particular athlete that you really admire, or there's a particular person that had, you know, a disability and managed to overcome that. And you know, I could see you guys giving to causes or giving money to causes, to organizations where people have overcome certain disabilities, or they've overcome, you know, certain limitations in their life. And maybe you're a person that has had disabilities or limitations in your own life, and you've overcome a lot in order to grow and become the person that you are today. And what I see is, your guys' confidence is really blossoming, and I feel like you guys want to be around like winners, okay, is what I'm gonna say. Is you feel like being around people who are like really confident winners in life, who are taking like the lessons they've learned and the things that they've learned in life and actually like giving back to others, or, you know, this type of thing. Like, you're more engaged in being around that type of energy than being around people who are kind of continually shooting themselves in the foot, okay? And there could be this sense of, you know, you guys like really wanting to like really taking charge in a situation. I'm also seeing people setting, okay, I just have to tell you guys, I'm seeing somebody who's setting up charities to help others, or somebody who is deciding to nurture more of their goals and dreams and visions in life, versus always running to the aid of people who continually are doing too much, taking on too much. Like, you know, there is something, some people just like doing that, or they like it for some reason. But and maybe you guys were like that in the past yourselves, but you're like, I don't like that anymore. I don't like that sense of being overwhelmed all the time. And I don't like it. I'm not into it. I want to be in control of my time and energy and effort. I don't want to, you know, and I'm sick of, I want to be around more people who are more like, I don't know, pile number 2, are more like winners in life, or more positive about things. And the 6 of Wands is definitely an energy of leadership, and it says leadership here. And perhaps some of you are going to be offered an opportunity to lead something that really, you know, whether it's a charity, whether it's a cause, whether it's like a work thing, or a relationship thing, or a friendship thing, where it's like, I really want to be around people who have like a very, like winning mindset about life. And I feel you guys also want the opportunity to step up and be a leader. And it's like, I've been through a lot of hard experiences in my life, and maybe the things that I've learned and the things that I've really struggled to understand in my own life, like I can take those things and help others with that. I am getting that. And I do feel like you guys are kind of like, yeah, I'm done like ruining myself over other people's expectations, and I'm done trying to bail out people who are always on the struggle train. Like I can't anymore. And so that's interesting because the lunar eclipse implies that there is something about your emotions or something about your attachments, your emotions, that is changing and that is moving in another direction. And we've got this move card. And if you feel yourself changing into another direction, or you feel yourself going in another direction, I feel like Spirit is saying, go ahead and go there. Trust yourself in that decision. It will unlock new opportunities for you to step up and potentially take on some leadership roles in this new cycle, okay? And pile number, I just have to say, I feel like you guys are kind of saying, I'm done helping people who won't help themselves. Now, again, I feel like that's not to be mean. It's not to be whatever. It's just kind of a cycle that you're moving into. And it's kind of a cycle that it's where your mind is headed, I feel. And again, it's not that you don't care, you're not emotional, because you are very sensitive and emotional. It's just like, I'm kind of done, and that's okay. That's all right, pile number 2, to kind of be done with that. Like, go your own way, baby. I like it. So pile number 2, that is what I am getting for you, my friends. I hope that reading resonated for you, and I'd love to hear your comments and your feedback. Let's go ahead and move on to pile number 3. Okay, let's pull my cards over here for pile number 3, and we will get into it. Okay. Pile number 3, welcome to your reading. You chose the air element, and today's reading is called What Cycle is Resetting for my pile number 3s. Let's go ahead and get into your reading, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you, and thank you again. Let's go ahead and get into it for my pile number 3s. I love some air element energy. It's very clever and fun and entertaining. Let's get it, pile number 3, and see what air energy can be. Very flirty too, kind of flirty, fun. Let's see what's going on. What cycle is resetting for my pile number 3s? Of course, air element also represents knowledge and learning. Okay, let's see. What is the cycle? Spirit, can you tell me about the cycle resetting here for pile number 3? What is the, what is the cycle resetting? Haven't used this deck for a while, pile number 3. It's fun to bring out old decks and get back into them. Queen of Swords, I knew it. Witty, bright, intelligent, outgoing, wonderfully smart, and beautiful achievements of the mind, pile number 3. Let's go ahead and really conquering, especially for those of you that are like in school or you're learning something new. Very, very positive energy for you guys here, all right? Or there's certain decisions and you're like, I want to become better at being really clear in my decisions, clear in my boundaries. Maybe some of you have goals around communication, or for those of you who write, or you are into writing, or you do some type of speaking for a living, or you're wanting to do something like that, welcome to your reading, pile number 3. And maybe you just want people to really listen to you and hear you out as well. And perhaps you have some very like intelligent information to share with people, and you just are wanting to build the confidence to do that, or you're wanting to get the word out there on something, okay? And I do feel you guys have a very powerful message to share that could really shake things up and change things. Let's see here for pile number 3. We have the 8 of Cups. Ooh, we've got the Ace of Cups. Very cool. Okay. And I feel like you guys are like, I just want to meet someone, Natalie, that when I get to know them, they don't give me the ick just from talking to them, like for 5 minutes. Like I can have an intelligent conversation with someone, relate, flirt, talk, share things, and I'm not like totally creeped out, or I totally don't get the ick just from having a conversation with someone, okay? And yeah, let's see what else. We have Armadillo and Protection. Ooh, you are entering a phase where in order for you to be in alignment with your intentions and co-create your best life, you may have to be discerning. Queen of Swords. You may have to be discerning and say no to many things that have been holding you back in the past. Okay. And I love the Queen of Swords for that, because she does not mess around. If something isn't right for her or isn't good for her, she's very, very good at laying a boundary. And that sword that she's holding can definitely act like a boundary, where she is saying no thank you to what she doesn't want, and then motioning with her other hand for what she does want. And I love a Queen of Swords with a little bit of attitude, who knows how to have the good boundaries that are necessary in life. So good for you, pile number 3. And, you know, this whole phase, for those of you that have gone back to relationships time and time again, or you go back to the same old thing because it feels safe, or you are just at a point where you are ready to move on and you're ready to go out in the world and look for something different. And then all of a sudden, a person pops back into your life again, and they've got 1,001 excuses for what happened. They want to apologize. They want to tell you they still love you. They still care. Okay. Or for those of you that have been trying to like meet a different type of a person, but yet you're still running into the same type of person, you fall head over heels, but it's always something that isn't something that you can like stay in, okay? And it's like the 8 of Cups with the Ace of Cups, going off looking for something that you love or something that you want, but at the same time, maybe finding things from the past that you already loved or you already did, okay? And it says here, in order to embrace this new phase in your life, you have to be discerning and say no to many things that have been holding you back in the past. And I feel you guys have a very big heart. You're very loving. You're very caring. And for some of you, that may be like disappointing people, you know, or putting boundaries. And for those of you that have, I'm getting something about somebody's mother-in-law, so I just have to say that. Maybe there's some boundaries that you need to have, like with your mother or with a mother-in-law type of a figure, or, you know, because you guys have this really big heart and you want to be there for people, but you're also a person that does need your time and space to be alone sometimes, and for like your own emotional healing, needs time to yourself. And you know, you could meet people that are like very smothering, or that want you to leave or guilt you when you are trying to leave, okay? Pile number 3. Or maybe you've just made a lot of decisions with your heart, and you've made a lot of, you know, a lot of the decisions or a lot of the ways that you've driven your life in the past have been because of your emotions, or because of your heart, or because of how the comfort that you feel with someone or a particular situation, or because they apologize, whatever the reason is. Like, there could be 1,000 different excuses and things, pile number 3. But I feel like with the Queen of Swords, the thing that's happening is that you guys are seeing things like really much clearer than you have in the past. And you're seeing where perhaps maybe some of your boundaries have been eroded. And I do feel like you guys have a really big heart for others and for helping and caring. But at the same time, you do need to say no to some things, and you do need to like protect yourself as far as your like emotional and mental health. You know what I mean? Pile number 3. So that is what I am seeing here. It says your worth is not tied to your productivity, okay, or your ability to be helping everyone or doing everything. And you know, and maybe you guys do need, maybe some of you need to set boundaries with your work and be like, even if you work for yourself, right? Like, I can't work beyond this time. These are my set particular times that I'm working. And the rest of the time I need to go kind of pursue some of the things, other things that I like doing in my life. Okay. Your worth is not tied to your productivity. That can be a really tough lesson. I believe this is the Page of Cups in this particular deck, and the card is understanding, okay? And I actually feel people, when you like speak up and say what you need, and I feel like when you guys speak up, people are gonna pay attention. I feel like you have very keen insights. And you don't even need to say that much. Just the few words that you share may have a really big impact. And, you know, if you do need to talk to somebody at your work, or family members or things like that, even your children, you know, if they're old enough, obviously, and can kind of take care of themselves, I do feel like it's like mommy needs some time to herself, or, you know, I need some time to kind of, I need some time for me. Like, I can't always be on for everyone else and like solving everyone's problems and all this kind of stuff. I actually feel the people in your life are going to understand where you're coming from. And it is about speaking up and saying like what your needs are, what your emotions are, where you're at, how you're feeling. And I do feel if you tell people, look, I need some time off, or I feel people are going to understand that, okay? And they are going to understand that you can't keep going at the pace that you've been going, that you need a break. And maybe some of you here with this 8 of Cups and Ace of Cups, you need a vacation, or you need some time away, or you need to step away from what you've been working on to get your mind off of it. And it's like, boom, once you get some time away and some distance, you're ready to come back and invest 100% in something, or be totally faithful towards something with the Ace of Cups. But at the same time, I feel it is time to speak up, pile number 3, about where you're at. And maybe at times you've been afraid that people aren't going to understand, or people are not going to appreciate what you need, or they're not going to listen to what you're asking for. But oh boy, and we have failure here, okay? I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. And sometimes, like, when we have to give up on something that we love in order to set a boundary for our future, to enter a phase where we're in alignment for our intentions, we have to let something go, even though we love it, or we want it, or we have a lot of open heart energy towards something, okay? And I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. And if you feel like there's times when you've even turned your back on other people or yourself, and you feel very guilty about that, I actually feel like people understand where you're coming from, pile number 3, maybe a lot more. And maybe it is just about like your understanding now that, you know, I need some time to do. And I feel some of you here who are, if you're an artist and you have another job, but you're also an artist and you need more time or you need more space to work on the things that you're working on, and you feel like you haven't been able to give things the attention they deserve and you feel like a failure because of that. Okay, I feel like a lot of these things that you, thoughts and emotions that you guys have been experiencing, they are, you know, coming to light right now, and you're starting to understand. You're starting to be a better advocate for yourself, is what I feel, pile number 3. And I understand that failure is only an opportunity to learn. It's like, I thought I wanted that job, or I thought I wanted to do that thing. I can't do it. I really can't. Even though I want to and I like it, or you started off doing something, but you quit, and then you wondered, like, did I quit too soon? Should I tried more? Should I stayed longer? Okay. I feel like once you leave and once you're out of that situation, you're going to find something that you love so much. Okay. And maybe you've been working in a space where you don't like what you're doing and you feel like a failure, or you tried to do something that you loved and it didn't work out. Okay. And this is an interesting message, pile number 3, because it's something I've struggled with too. Is feeling like, you know, over the last couple of years of my life, is feeling like I failed at something that I loved, and now I have to go do something else, but I don't really want to do it. And, you know, it can be very mentally overwhelming, but I also feel like Spirit is giving you a deeper understanding of all of this, okay? And you're starting to see it much clearer for what it is. And, you know, with the Ace of Cups, sometimes, and especially with understanding, sometimes we just need to be a little bit more forgiving of ourselves. You know, we need to be more, I think sometimes the hardest things in life can be like offering your own self forgiveness. And, yeah, so that is very interesting, pile number 3. We have the 8 of Swords here, helpless and hopeless. Okay, for those of you that have been feeling very torn, and it feels like no matter what steps I take, it leads me someplace I don't want to go. And there is something that I really, really want, but it feels very daunting to me now. And I don't know what to do to change this situation. I don't know how I would make this situation any different. And I don't feel that there's anything that I can do to change this situation. And I feel like when you guys really let go with this 8 of Cups, it may have been kind of depressing too, pile number 3. I totally get that. And the 8 of Cups in the tarot is represented by Saturn and Pisces. And, you know, Saturn has been rocking up in Pisces for like the last year. And maybe, you know, for the last year, you guys have felt like a failure about something, or you felt like I tried to do something I really loved, but it didn't work. And now I don't know where to go from here. Okay. And you're really needing this Queen of Swords energy to really give you some clarity about the next steps that you can take. And maybe I'm also getting a big thing of guilt in this reading, pile number 3. Like, I should have taken care of this, or I should have done something about this when I could have. Okay. But with the Ace of Cups and the Page of Cups here, I do feel like people are going to understand. And there is this energy of giving yourself a chance too, as well. Okay. And we have here, we have the 7th house of partners. Wow. So I'm going to take a drink of water, pile number 3. If you feel like, wow, I gave up I feel like a failure because this relationship didn't work, and I feel so helpless about it, and I feel like I feel like I gave up too easy. Okay, Eight of Cups, Ace of Cups, and I feel like, you know, for those of you that have been dealing with like failed marriages, failed partnerships, and you're like, you know what, and you've considered going back to this person, or you've considered like reactivating or reanimating this partnership, again, with this protection armadillo, okay? You may have to be discerning and say no to many things that have been holding you back in the past. And that could be a sense of failure about relationships, like, I don't deserve love. I don't deserve happiness. Eight of Cups, Ace of Cups. I know love is out there in the world. I just feel like because I failed at an important relationship, or because my relationships have been a failure, that I'm somehow, I don't know how to do relationships. I'm bad at it. You know, this type of thing. I feel like I'm a child and I don't know what's going on, and this type of thing. Okay. And I just feel Spirit is saying you're moving into a phase of your life where, like, the wisdom of all your experiences, the emotions, the things that you've dealt with in your life, like all of this is sort of, you're understanding it on a deeper level with the Queen of Swords, and you're understanding what choices you need to actively make and what communications you need to share in order to, you know, in order to truly leave the past behind, is what I feel, pile number 3. And maybe, you know, in leaving the past behind, you felt that you still love someone, or you felt that you were a failure because of the relationship. And, you know, this whole card of your worth is not tied to your productivity also has to do with relationships. Like, your worth isn't tied to whether your relationship succeeded or not, you know? And maybe some of you here do actually work a lot, or you do try to stay busy all the time because there's other areas of your life that you feel like you're like, I suck at this, or I'm not good at protecting myself or protecting my heart when I love someone. I'm a total softie. Okay, Ace of Cups and protection. And Spirit just wants to say, like, they understand where you're coming from, and they see what your heart desires, and they see what you're looking for, and they see what you want, I feel like, is what they're saying, pile number 3, okay? And, you know, especially if you feel like you've been in relationships where you were taking care of the other person, or they didn't see where you were coming from, I feel like with the Queen of Swords, you're being asked to make decisions that are more like strong and powerful for you, and also to encouraging you to lay boundaries or lay down the law with someone. That way, it's not this continual cycle of forgiving and taking someone back, and then that's the end, and then it feels like a failure, but then, you know, all these types of things. I feel like you're really getting clarity on a major cycle of your life, pile number 3, and you're making some calls on that, and you're saying, yeah, that doesn't work for me anymore. I've learned a lot from these experiences, and it doesn't work for me anymore. And I think you're becoming much more direct about communicating what you want and what you need, and what you're looking for in a partner is understanding of where you're coming from and where your heart is at. And in order to have that, we need to have open and honest communication, the air element. And maybe you're understanding where you were holding back open and honest communication because you did have a fear of feeling like a failure, okay? And we have renewal and rebirth with the Phoenix rising. Oh boy. Examine what you resist discarding, okay? So pile number 3, the Queen of Swords is being asked to examine what you have resisted discarding, okay? And what are some of the excuses around that, or what are some of the things around that that have held you back from discarding something? Examine what you resist letting go of, okay? And maybe you feel like with this productivity card, like once I put so much effort into getting someone to understand me understanding them, like I don't want to let go of it. And Spirit hears you on that pile number 3. They understand where you're coming from on that, but they're saying in order to be in alignment with your own intentions that you set for yourself and to create your best life, you're going to have to say no to things in the past that maybe you let slide, okay? So the ability for you guys to enter into a new cycle and to come into a new cycle has to do with the ability to be discerning and to say no to things that in the past haven't been good for you. And that at this point in your life, you're wise enough to know the difference. You're wise enough to know, like, that isn't good for me and that's not what I want. And maybe some of you have already been doing that. You've already been calling the shot. You've already been like, you're in the new cycle right now, and you've already been cutting off things that you know are like things you've experienced in the past where you couldn't let go. Okay, so we may all be in different phases here, pile number 3, but the important thing is to examine what you resist discarding. Reassess what needs to be renewed and given a fresh start, okay? And maybe this whole thing of renewing and giving a fresh start is something you've been doing emotionally out of guilt or feeling like a failure or having put so much energy into something. But you have to really look at what am I resisting throwing away because of whatever reason, and what should I give a fresh start to, right? Clean up all the things around your life that are cluttering your life. And in order to kind of clean up situations and move on from situations, we need to make some really like intelligent, proactive decisions for ourselves that involve looking at the facts of things, you know, not how we want things to be or not how we hope things would be, but also just looking at the raw, cold-hearted truth of things. Now, it doesn't mean we have to lose our love or lose our belief in love, but Spirit is trying to really give you guys a new cycle here, like really, 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 really with this renewal and rebirth. And there could be so many things I feel in your life that you guys are trying to reset the cycle on. And it can be a very powerful period of intense mental realizations about the past and what you've been willing to let go of, or what you are like, I can't let go, or it's not the right time for me to let go. And again, we're not trying to force ourselves if we're not ready, but at the same time, Spirit really wants you to tell you you're not a failure. And, you know, even if we did feel like we are lost in a situation and it's not going to get better, like sometimes those lessons are important for us to understand, like how we need to handle ourselves in the future. Do you know what I'm saying? Pile number 3, we have the Knight of Wands here. We have the Emperor, okay? We have the 5 of Pentacles, and we have the High Priestess. Oh boy, pile number 3. I feel like you guys are sick of people making decisions for you. And some of you could have grown up around men that were very like impulsive or dominating, or that constantly, like, for those of you, especially what I'm getting here in particular, I just have to say, is about the women who have been left behind. You know what I mean? Pile number 3. And this could be a thing in your family line where it's like there's the angry mother who's staying at home or who is depressed or upset about the way that things are, and then the men who are off gallivanting and doing whatever they want, okay? And I do feel that there is a resentment towards that, okay? And this whole thing of, you know, women should be forgiving, women should be like, you know, this thing or that thing. Like, women should always be empathetic. Women should always open up the door for the cheating spouse or whatever. You know, like, pile number 3, maybe some of you had situations like this in your home growing up where it was very unfair, or the power dynamic or the balance of power was very, very unfair. And, you know, and it did result in 2 people who were constantly angry at each other. Mom and dad constantly angry at each other. Cheating, a father who's cheating or having affairs, or, you know, this type of thing. I just have to tell you what I'm seeing. And somebody who should have been taking responsibility but was acting like an impetuous child, or wasn't really, you know, or a father who let your brothers get away with anything, or let your other siblings get away with fucking anything. But it was like you were expected to take on a particular role, or take on a particular, you know, there is something here about women in the family taking on all this hardship while the men abandon their responsibilities. Okay, I just have to say something about that. And it may be where, you know, you guys are attracted to people that are very, you know, fiery or impulsive, or very like stubborn, and like want their way, or want to be chased, or always running off, and, you know, very, very, very strong-willed, very, very willful. And I mean, what are the women supposed to do? Just hang back and pretend that they don't care? I also feel that some of these men have left these women in an incredible lurch while they were living their best life, or having money, or making money, or while the women were stuck with nothing, or didn't have the essentials that they needed to survive, or barely had the essentials that they needed to survive, you know. And perhaps there's an element, I don't know, pile number 3, I have to go off on this, because this is an entrenched dynamic that is pissing me off, and I'm sure it pisses you off too, because I'm getting pissed looking at it. And it's this whole thing where women are taught that they are the reason for the failure of a relationship, and that they should be the open-hearted, 1000% forgiving, yielding, passive force the entire fucking time. I just have to say, like, that is a piece of shit. And I feel like you guys with this Queen of Swords, you're seeing through all of this. You're seeing through all of this shit, and it doesn't make sense to you anymore. And some of you could be legitimately mad and wanting to call this out. Now, this could also be a dynamic at work, where there's people that can do no wrong, who are being showered with whatever they want, given all the leadership and authority, while you struggle to make ends meet, or you struggle to make things happen for yourself. Now, here's where we need to just, there is something here about protection, okay? And these types of bullshit situations where other people are being selfish and taking advantage of other people is a huge no-no, okay? And the spiritual world frowns on it extensively, fucking extensively, pile number 3. Now, I mean, I'm getting really mad in this reading, and you guys know how I get when I get mad, pile number 3. But I just have to say, the spirit world frowns on these situations extensively. They're fucked up, they're wrong, they don't like it. And you know what? After a while, we do become bitter and angry, disillusioned, all those types of things. And if you are feeling that way, pile number 3, if you are feeling like that's bullshit, I don't like to see that, I don't want to end up like that, etc., then I feel like, you know, the big thing here is the protection energy. And the armadillo is about, you know, having boundaries. If you look at the skin of the armadillo, there is a protection, there is a boundary there. And it says you may have to be discerning and say no to many things that maybe you said yes to in the past, okay? That you're like, I am not agreeing to that anymore. I don't agree. And I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to be mean, but I will tell you my thoughts on that. And I will put a boundary and I will say no if I don't agree with that. Okay. And that is a new cycle. And here's the thing, pile number 3, the women in your family or the way that things went down in your family have been in that cycle of shit for a long time. And it's coming to you to use the power of your throat chakra at this point in your life to really say, that's not me. That's not my life. That's not where I'm headed. That's not what I want. Here's what I want. I'm very clear. I'm very concise. This is where I'm at. This is what I need. This is what I want. And this is not what I want. Okay. And it's almost like the power of your voice has the power to reset a cycle for you and create a new cycle for you, which is really tied to a renewal of love, emotions, affection, care, like everything that you're looking for. But it has to do with you standing up and voicing the concerns that you have. It has to do with you using your voice in a powerful way to reset these old cycles. And it's like, magic, part of magic, the reason why we speak when we do magic is because the words mean something, and words carry power, pile number 3. And you guys are really being encouraged, like through the use of your voice and through the use of your explanations and the way that you're laying things down, you're really being encouraged to use your voice to create those changes in cycles. Okay, pile number 3. So that is what I am getting for you, my friends. I hope that reading resonated, and I wish you the very best. Take care.